What's up, everybody? Welcome to Mevo Live. My name is Will Kirkpatrick, and I'm a senior technical specialist here at Mevo. And I am joined today with Joseph. Let me pull up our two-shot here. Cool. Here's Joseph. And so today we are going to be answering all of your questions. We are live currently on Facebook, Twitch, as well as YouTube. So if you haven't followed us on any of these channels before, please do. It's at Mevo Camera everywhere. Today for our show, let me jump over here. Today for our show, we are going to be going over our setups, which is new today, different than our normal shows. And then we are also going to be going over the 2.5 updates. And of course, as always, answering any of your questions. And so we also want to remind you that we have 2 shows a week. Tuesday, we have the Ask Mevo Anything show, where you can ask us any question about the Mevo apps, and any of your setup questions. We'll be happy to answer them live. And then on Thursday, we have Mevo Live, and this is where we get to do more of a deep dive into different topics, and of course, answer all of your questions. So please put those in chat, whether you're in Facebook, Twitch, or YouTube, and we will jump to those in just a little bit. We have the 3-pack available right now, and it's actually not only at Mevo.com. So let me adjust that there. So the Mevo 3-pack is available on Mevo.com, but it's also available at our resellers, Amazon, Best Buy, B&H, Adorama. You can find it all over the place, but it is going really fast. So pick it up while you have the chance. And of course, we always want to talk about our referral program, where not only can you save someone that you're referring to Mevo.com 5%, but you can also earn 5% commission for that referral. So this is great, and we really like this program because everybody is always telling us that they're asked all the time on their broadcast, whether they're at a house of worship or a baseball game, what camera they're using. And so we have this great referral program so you can earn a little extra bucks while saving somebody else some as well. Cool. So lots going on in the Mevo world. We switch over to our 2-shot here. So let's talk about our setups a little bit. Right now, I'm using a Mevo Start that is connected to my network with a power over Ethernet adapter. And then I'm sending an NDI signal to my computer. And then I'm using OBS to do all these graphics and the switches. And for audio, I'm using a Bluebird microphone, which is then going into an M audio switcher. It's the Air model. And then from that switcher back into the Mevo Start using a 3.5 millimeter TRS cable. Joseph, what are you using today?
Yeah, so I have a similar setup. So what I'm doing is a Mevo Start directly in front of me. I also have another Mevo Start over my mixer to my right. So in case we get any audio questions about mixers, I can absolutely show you guys how to use that. So the Mevo Start is connected to our PoE adapter, and it's hardlined to my network switch. I also have my computer hardwired to that switch as well. And then now that's coming into my OBS system, and then I'm coming out of my OBS system into our conferencing app here, Skype, where I can choose what kind of input I want to use. So you can choose your NDI direct. So if I want to come directly NDI from my Mevo Start, I can do that as well. Or if I want to come in and show off some things on my OBS, let me see if I can get a wide here. So for example, if we want to talk about the Bluebird microphone that we're using, I can absolutely pull that up from OBS, send that to our conference, send that to our stream, and you guys can take a look at some of the specs here. So while it's up, we are using the Bluebird microphones. These are condenser microphones. Very nice sounding, very warm sounding. Great frequency response, full spectrum on the frequency response. And so these mics are they're made for vocals, so it does create a nice warm vocal tone when we're using them. So that's very good there.
Cool. And so,
And then I believe that's it. Yes. Go ahead.
So we have been using a service called Video Ninja in, I think, for the past 3 or 4 weeks on Mevo live shows. But we felt like it was a little bit unstable and maybe just not quite where we wanted it to be quality wise. So we are switching right now, and we're actually using Skype in addition to OBS, because not only can Skype do 1080p video conferencing, which, you know, if you're using Zoom a lot, you know that Zoom restricts you to 720, and we want to show the full quality of the Mevos. So we are using Skype, and Skype not only has 1080, but can also send an NDI signal of your participants in the chat out to any NDI receiver that you have. So Joseph called me with his Mevo setup and then sent me, and then I took his video and then sent it to OBS through Skype's built-in NDI out. And it's really, really cool. It's a really cool feature, and has been working really well. So we're a big fan of it, and hopefully it's working well and will continue to work well, and our shows will just benefit from that.
Yeah, it's definitely a huge advantage having this availability to do things remotely and also be able to show off what we want to show off as far as, you know, our demonstrations or examples. We can even pull up app demos today too. So again, if you have questions, make sure you put those in the comments. And today we're everywhere, right? We're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, and we are on Twitch at Mevo Camera. Is that right, Will?
That is correct.
It is. Cool. So why don't we take a look and see if we have some questions coming in?
Yeah,
which I believe we do.
it's great being able to manage
question
questions from
spots.
everywhere. All right. So let's see. We've got some Facebook questions coming in. We got some YouTube questions coming in. All right. Let's go to YouTube real quick. Elite Media says, "Afternoon, Mevo family. Elite Media, how you doing? Thanks for joining us." Fred the Hippo says, "Any new multicam features coming soon?" So as soon as we get to the point where we're gonna talk about those features, we will absolutely do it on this show. So definitely watch Tuesday and Thursday's show, because we will announce any new features here. But no new features to talk about today. But as always, new features are coming.
For sure.
Yeah. Henry says, "I have no clue on how to update to 2.5 on Mevo Start." So that's a great question. So it should be just pressing that update button. If you haven't already updated the app, you should probably do that first. And you can find that in the Play Store and the Apple App Store. And you can actually find a direct link to the app on Mevo.com. So check that out. Let's see.
Absolutely.
Got YouTube.
All right, so we have some on Facebook as well.
Let's do some Facebook.
So Jonathan says, any chance of preloading overlays, preloading overlay slides and videos to use in live stream? Well, you can do half of that question right now. So for example, I'll give them a demonstration on the graphics now. So if you have updated to 2.5 and you have unlocked some features that 2.5 unlocks, you can absolutely use those features. So as far as overlays and graphics, let me go to my app here. Okay. And make sure that that's live and up to date. Great. So in the Mevo app, you can click it looks like a picture frame on an easel on the bottom right-hand side. And from here, you can actually put your overlays directly from the app into your stream. So for example, let's say I want to just pop that little Mevo symbol up and have that come on my feed, I can absolutely do that. or I can stick it on an over the shoulder, for example. So if I click this here and then I go back to my actual scene, you'll see that over my, which shoulder? I got it right. Over my left shoulder is the graphic overlay. So this can be done directly from the app. You don't need to use OBS or vMix or Streamlabs OBS or any type of broadcasting software to accomplish this. So that's the first half of your question. Yes, you can do that with images and overlays. Now, when you're talking about videos, we don't have the availability to do that just yet through the Mevo app, but it is definitely something that we have heard before, and we know that that's a request from our users. So that would be something that maybe look down into the future is something that we're going to try and include and explore for sure, but it's not something that is available right now.
Cool. Thanks for that question.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Here's another question from Facebook. Could the split screen from 2 cameras be an app option in future updates, or 1 camera as an overlay? That's a cool thought. What do you think about that? Well, like in Multicam, having a split screen or something like that.
Yeah. So we've actually listed on the Mevo.com website that you can do, or not you can, you will be able to do picture-in-picture. It's in our coming soon section for the Multicam apps. So we don't have a specific timeline as to when that'll be out, but it's definitely something that we want to add to the Multicam app in the future.
Awesome. And OJ says, do you still support the original Mevo? And can the new camera integrate with the old camera when using multicam together? So Mevo Plus, first gen, and the Mevo Start, can they all work in multicam?
Yeah, absolutely. We definitely still support the original Mevo. And it works with multicam as well as wireless webcam, wired webcam, Mevo 2.0. So yeah, pretty much everything is still supported in the same way.
Awesome. Great to hear. And then Jonathan is coming back in. He's saying, by preloaded, I mean onto the SD card from an external device. So as far as the graphics are concerned, for that, those would have to be downloaded from the Mevo app, from the device itself, right? Correct me if I'm wrong on that. Because it gets downloaded to the SD card through the app.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So yeah, that would be the way to do that. In terms of preloading videos, again, it's just not something that's in the app at this time, but you can definitely do it with overlay slides.
Awesome.
Cool.
Okay. Let's see how we're doing. All right. So it looks like that's it for questions.
Cool. Keep them coming
for right now. So yeah, keep them coming for sure. So Will, what are some of the more popular scenarios that you've seen, in tickets or just in customer responses of how people are using the Mevo?
Let's see. I see a lot of, obviously, some multicam tickets. I know that people are getting more and more involved with multicam as they're like picking up the 3-pack. And also, people that are doing what OJ was talking about, where they have a Mevo already, and maybe they had an original Mevo and they picked up a Mevo Start, and they're getting them combined in the Multicam app. I know that that's really popular, and I know that more and more people are using the Multicam app remotely, which is definitely something that you can do, and maybe not something that I think people originally think about. But yeah, you can definitely use the Multicam app remotely, whether it is using a Mevo as a hotspot, or I've done demos on live shows before where I bring a home Wi-Fi hub with me. I think it was the Orbi, and you can take that remote as well. So there are 2 options to bring multicam mobile with you, and I see a lot more people doing that, which is really cool and really exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. I've also seen a lot of people just upping their production, just using multicam and things that they were already doing. A lot of people had a single cam setup and they were using the follow faces, and they were using auto adjustments with the 1 camera. But now having that 2 extra cameras with the multicam setup, I've seen a lot of people's just setups just grow from there, which is really great. Awesome. Cool. All right. So we have more questions. Jonathan's coming in. Actually, what Kathy says. So it's on Facebook. Kathy says, I'm so happy that we can now use overlays. It makes the stream look so much more professional. I mean, that's exactly why we wanted to unlock that feature. It's exactly why we include that feature. We want our users to be able to have a professional, nice looking stream, obviously, because that's what their audience is going to want to see. So thank you, Kathy, for that. And then Jonathan's coming back. He says, are there any efforts being made to get YouTube to allow direct from Mevo stream to be allowed with 1,000 subscriber limit? So maybe, Will, you can elaborate a little bit more on this 1,000 subscriber limit. This is something that is dictated from YouTube for streaming from mobile platforms, right?
Yeah. So unfortunately, this is a restriction made by YouTube, and unfortunately, it's very hard to get around. But you can use Rtmp, and although Rtmp can take more time to initially set up than just pressing the YouTube button using the API, you can set things like persistent keys and scheduled events and stuff like that. So you can have it so you can just press that one button, tap Rtmp, and then tap your stream and go live. So you don't actually have to add new information every single time that you want to go live. We have a good support article that goes into detail that talks about how to set up persistent keys and all that stuff. So it is something we would love, but unfortunately we have very little control over YouTube's restrictions. But there are, tricks to Rtmp to make it just as easy.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, like you said, once you set that up, you can save those settings in the Mevo app, so you only ever have to click it once. Especially if you're doing YouTube and you have a persistent key setup. I mean, that is just the easiest way to go when you're trying to work around those limitations from YouTube.
Yeah.
Great. What else we got? All right. And once again, everybody, we're also on YouTube, on Facebook, and on Twitch as well right now. So at Mevo Camera on all three platforms. So I think this is probably the first time we've gone through all three platforms like that.
Yeah.
At least in recent memory.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is the first time
So
we've
it's
been
great.
on all three, and right now we're using Vimeo Premium to stream our single stream from OBS to Vimeo, and then it's being split to YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. So that's a great advantage of Vimeo Premium. On top of, a lot of people have been recently asking about multi-destination in the Multicam app, because unlike the Mevo 2.0 app, the Multicam app does not have that multi-destination toggle. But if you have Vimeo Premium or Caster or Restream.io, you can send an Rtmp stream to those destinations, and then they will send it to multi-destinations. Let's see.
Yeah, huge feature.
Yeah, let's pull up some stuff here. We've got I want to talk about the referral pack and the 3-pack real quick. I know I mentioned it in the beginning, but we did just get a bunch of new viewers, so I do want to mention it again. We've got the 3-pack available on Mevo.com, as well as our resellers, Amazon, Best Buy, B&H, Adorama, all the big guys. And so you can find it there, but it is going quick. We have our referral program, and that is all about referring somebody to pick up a Mevo on Mevo.com. And not only will they save 5%, but you'll earn 5% commission. You can have a completely custom code, and so like you can have it be your channel name or your team name, or your business name or anything like that. So it's really nice to have that customization option there. So one of the things that we just recently released that's really exciting is the Mevo app is now version 2.5, and this brings free graphics you can do the full Mevo mic options. You were limited to one without a Vimeo subscription, but now you can do up to 3 Mevo mics, and then HEVC support for NDI, which is huge, and I'm a huge fan of that as well. Cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Me too. Yeah, and actually, speaking of that, it's a great transition. So Rob from YouTube said he tested NDI into Wirecast. So Wirecast is another streaming service that you could use. And he says HEVC doesn't work just yet, but if he switches it off, it does work with normal NDI. Now, this is to be expected in the beginning of this release because a lot of things aren't necessarily set up for NDI 5 just yet, and that's still something that's being rolled out. So if you do run into any issues where NDI is not connecting, or you can't, or whatever the case may be, how you're connecting to your computer, maybe toggle that switch and to go HEVC off or on just to see if that solves that issue for you. Because again, not everyone is updated yet.
Yeah, that's why that's optional. We had somebody asking a couple shows ago why it was optional, and that's specifically why, because it's just not fully supported everywhere just yet. But I will say that you should be able to do HEVC to Wirecast through the NDI webcam input or virtual camera. I'm not sure which one it is for Windows, but one of those will definitely work.
Awesome. Awesome. Cool. Rob also mentions that Boxcast also sends multi-destinations, which is good to know. Good to know for users. Awesome. Okay. And CBUS Sports Radio says, love you guys to add Sweetwater as well to a distributor. I love Sweetwater. I think they're great. So that would be pretty awesome. Unfortunately, those types of connections aren't up to us, but we can definitely pass that sentiment along for sure.
Definitely.
All right. So let's take a look how Facebook's doing. Here's one for you, Will. Another multicam question. Jonathan says, is there a way to set up multiple Twitter accounts so you can select one to stream to? Like Facebook, you can have all your pages. I've never tried to set up multiple Twitter accounts. I would assume that you would have to just log out and log back in each time, but correct me if I'm wrong on that one.
Yeah, I think you would have to log back in and out of the different accounts. I'm not sure, but I think the new Twitter streaming does accept Rtmp inputs, so you could possibly do it through Rtmp, where you have set up multiple Rtmp destinations, but I am not positive on that one.
Yeah, so that's a great question. We're going to have to look into that a little bit deeper, but that would be an awesome option if they do take Rtmp, because that's just another point for Rtmp as far as streaming to all these major platforms.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Looks like we have a question on Twitter. I'm sorry, on Twitch.
Nice.
Jen says, I hope more people follow you all on Twitch so we can get cool Mevo emotes. That's the plan. That's definitely the plan. We want to take advantage of all the things that Twitch has to offer. It's a great platform, especially when you're doing live streaming and connecting to communities. It's a lot of fun. So if you actually haven't tried out Twitch yet, I would definitely recommend going over there and checking it out at Mevo Camera at Twitch, of course. And I think past a certain subscriber point, I think you do get some of those fun emojis. So that'd be a good time as well.
Yeah, I would love to get one of those little animated Joe Mevo icons with the cool sunglasses and everything that we've got on Slack. Also, we have the amazing Twitch colors going on right now with our lights, so we're kind of very official Twitch today.
We're right there.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So that covers the questions for a little while. So Will, I did want to cover a topic of just general setting up the Mevo and just how to just run it. I mean, I feel like a lot of times on these shows we get pretty technical, or we get into always the new features. Hey, we're talking NDI 5. Hey, we're talking 2.5. But I kind of want to get back to the basics. So we prepared a couple little slides that we can speak to as far as how to set up the Mevo for like a live setting or an auditorium setting, a church setting. It all kind of works out the same way. So I'd love to dive into those if I may. So what we're going to be talking about is your live stage type setup. And let me go back into my mic slides here and find my live stage show. Cool. So a general live stage setup is you're going to have your front of house, and most people using a single Mevo, and we'll stick with a single Mevo for now. They'll have the Mevo right up in front, right by the stage, and you can absolutely do this. You can pick up audio this way as well using the internal Mevo microphones, and there are a few different settings that you can change for that. I would recommend the music setting if there is a lot of music playing. If it's a single speaker, you might want to change that over to the speech setting. So this is just your basic setup. So we have your audience. Your soundboard is generally in the back of the room or the side of the stage, usually out of sight, and then obviously your front of house. So this is got the Mevo straight out of the box. You want to set it up. This is how you can do it. I would recommend getting the Mevo as close to your subject matter as possible. And then this will allow you to get, the best picture, because if you're starting to zoom in, you may run into issues as far as quality. So something like this, right? So if your Mevo is further back, you can obviously get a wider view. So if you want to get the whole stage, not just a part of the stage or whatever, you might want to position your Mevo further back. Another advantage of having this is it's closer to the soundboard, so you can use different connections as far as how you run your audio to your Mevo to get the best audio for your stream. All right, let me kick this over. How's this looking? Is this needs to be resized over here, or is this good? Very good. Okay, cool. So the next option here is what this slide is showing is the remote mic app. So that's something we haven't really talked about yet today. And let me go to, we don't want questions. We want my mic slides. There we go. So the remote mic app is an application developed by Mevo that you can use on mobile devices. So this will allow you to connect a separate mobile device as a microphone source into your Mevo. So this is great, especially if you want, if you just want to have a quick fake kind of Lav setup or a wired Lav directly to the phone here. You can set up something like that, and it gives you the option to have a microphone that's wireless away from the Mevo. So you can move the Mevo to different areas and still have the connection using the microphone from a separate phone or tablet or anything like that, anything that can run the remote mic app. So that's obviously a great option, especially if you were doing something that's a little bit more low budget and you have an extra phone line around, you could absolutely set that up. And then let's transition over to here. So this is just another view of it, especially if your Mevo is in if your Mevo is a little bit further away. This is a great option to have the speaker up front with a microphone connected to them or near them. If there's a podium, you can even just lay the phone right on top of the podium, and that'll send the signal wirelessly to the Mevo regardless of where it is in the room. You can also take this one step further and connect the remote mic app through your soundboard if you are using a soundboard, and then send that signal wirelessly to the Mevo. So this really does check a lot of boxes as far as pain points for running audio. So what I mean by this is you take a cable out of your mixer or soundboard, you connect that directly to your phone or tablet that's running the Mevo mic app, and then you can send the house signal, so whatever's coming from the stage, the microphones, whatever setup you have that's running through your soundboard, you can send that back through remotely to your Mevo, and then that gives you the availability to have the Mevo going to a different spot, a closer area, so just so you don't have to worry about running cables so much. It's another great solution using the Mevo mic app. And please, if anyone has questions about how to set this stuff up, put them in the chat. Like I said, we are on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook today. So if you're watching us live, we appreciate it. If you have questions, please put them in the chat. Okay, and then similar to the remote mic app, if you want to take this one step further. Oh, Will's chiming in.
Oh, no, go for it.
Cool. Oh, okay. You can do something like this. So this is using a wireless Lav. We have used these in the past before on our live shows. And this is just picking up a wireless Lav unit, essentially doing the same thing that the remote mic app is doing. It's taking signal and sending it wirelessly to the Mevo. So when people ask us, I want to run my Mevo. I want good audio. There's a speaker in the front of the house, but I can't. The Mevo internal mics won't reach if the Mevo's too far away. Whatever the case may be, there's a workaround. There's always a workaround for getting good audio into your Mevo. This is one of the most popular ones. Is running a Lav unit, which is just a transmitter and a receiver, and then just connecting those either USB or through the 3.5 input on the back of the Mevo. And we're talking the Mevo Start in that case. All right. And then lastly is the most direct connection would be going directly from a soundboard to the Mevo via the 3.5 millimeter TRS input. So this is a normal stereo headphone looking cable. And this would come directly out of the soundboard with a direct line. So this is your best case scenario for as far as getting the best quality audio if you're using something like a soundboard in a venue. What this does is it creates an analog line direct to the Mevo, and I can actually kind of show you what that looks like here. So it's kind of how I'm coming to you today, right? So I have my microphone input here coming into my channel 1 on my audio mixer. My audio mixer is then being sent or routed to my Mevo's 3.5 millimeter input in the back of the Mevo Start, and that's how I'm getting my audio to the Mevo. Now, why is this good? Because it'll sync with the Mevo's video inside the Mevo before it gets to whatever other broadcasting software or directly to your stream, so you don't have to worry so much about audio sync. And then it also gives me the option to use whatever effects or parameters on my mixing board. So, for example, if I want to crank up some type of reverbs or delays, this probably sounds pretty crazy. Actually, let me turn. Let's see here. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Let's see. Turn this noise filter off. So now you guys should probably be hearing some pretty wild noises and delays from my mixer. That was probably terrible, but it gives you the example how we can send signal through your mixer directly into your Mevo, and you don't have to worry about interruptions, and it's the most direct signal. You can also mix everything before it gets to your Mevo as well. So that is, in my opinion, the best case scenario as far as running audio in a live stage setup to the Mevo. And that's that.
Cool. I love those slides, man. Those are great.
Thanks.
So yeah, I would say all right, let's see. All right. Let's go check and see how the chat is going. Let's see. So I did want to mention that this is actually something that we get asked a fair amount, which is about the subtitles that are being used on the streaming destination that you're using. So if you're streaming to Facebook, if you're streaming to YouTube, same with Twitch, all the subtitles that are being added are being done by that destination. So a lot of people are wondering, like, how do you turn subtitles off, or how do you change them? Because the problem is these are auto-generated, so they're not perfectly accurate, and so it's kind of annoying. We don't want them to show up and kind of ruin the stream or say something that you didn't say, which happens all the time. Unfortunately, these subtitles are being generated by Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and so on. So the only real way to turn them off is for the viewer to disable them as they're watching. So unfortunately, it's something that I wish that these destinations would give more control to the broadcaster, but unfortunately, they just don't. But you can tell your viewers, hey, if you have subtitles on, you should turn them off, or if you want them to turn them on, obviously you can tell them to do that as well. But yeah, that's how subtitles work. We actually have a help article as well. And I actually do want to mention, now that we're talking about help articles, that we have been adding tons and tons of articles, whether it is for the Mevo 2.5 update, or for the Multicam app, or how to do your setup, how audio works, all this different stuff. We've got tons and tons of help articles, which you can find at help.mevo.com. And yeah, if you can't find your specific answer in those help articles, definitely open up a ticket with us, and one of us will be happy to help you one-on-one, and we'll figure it out. Cool.
All right. How is the sync looking right now? Can you tell me if it looks any different? I got a message saying that the sync might be off. If it is off, guys, I apologize. This is something that's I think this is a specific problem for my computer and the way it's running OBS. Sometimes when I'm running multiple versions of NDI and inside OBS, the sync kind of comes off, and I think it's really just a my computer thing because this doesn't happen to everybody. Obviously, it's not happening to Will. So if you do run into that issue, it could be something going on in OBS. So what I would do is just restart OBS and see if it works. Will, let me know if I'm coming in sync right now. I mean, the viewers, please let me know. I apologize for that. So
It looks like it's a little bit better, but yeah,
it's one
let
of
us
those
know.
problems that we're. Yeah, it's one of those things that like it happens randomly. Still trying to figure it out.
Yeah, I've noticed that this is like a really specific issue to OBS. When I am using different programs, like even with Streamlabs OBS, it seems to be better. But yeah, we're also using a lot of other stuff that ties in to the audio with OBS and with Skype. So like, for example, we have virtual cables because with with OBS you can do virtual camera, which enables you to send whatever video that you're doing in OBS to your streaming destination or just to any program that you're using. So I'm using OBS virtual camera to send to Skype, and so I can do any sort of graphics that I want, and that gets sent to Skype. And I do that for Zoom too if we do any presentations or anything like that. But the downside to virtual camera is that it doesn't transmit audio as well. So to transmit audio from OBS to another application like Zoom or like Skype, you need something called a virtual cable. There are many different programs that are available depending on the platform that you're on, whether it's Mac or Windows. But that's how you output the audio from OBS into another program, and it's all just done through software. Cool. So let's see. We got some questions going on. So they're saying the sync was a little bit off. So Joseph is working on that now. And let's see. Jeff says, I was thinking it was an OBS issue. Yeah, spot on, man. Jeff, thanks for joining us. I was hoping that you'd make the show. I appreciate all the watchers that our viewers that keep coming back show after show. We try and kind of continue to add more and more content and try more and more things so we can talk about all the different things that work well, that don't work well, the challenges. And that's kind of like the joy and fun of these shows is to just keep testing the Mevo on different situations and different programs and settings and stuff like that. So
Yeah, and hopefully I'm back in sync now. You guys let me know.
it's looking good for me.
Does it look good on your end?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if I'm back now, I know Jeff will let me know. Jeff always has my back on these shows, so I really do appreciate it. So what I did is the first round, what I did was I reset all my NDI inputs, and that didn't fix the situation. So then what I did is I reset OBS completely, and you let me know if that fixed it. Probably did. So that tells me that there is something going on in OBS where it's just lagging on the audio over time. So that is going to be a reason why maybe we should move to Streamlabs OBS, or maybe we should try something like vMix or something like Live Stream Studio. There's so many different options that you could use, and we try and test as many as we can. But on the shows, we usually try and go with what works. And Jeff is saying you guys rock. I know it's redundant, but for me, I learn something every time I watch, and it helps get me familiar with the software. Jeff, that's the purpose of the show. And as you can see, we do these shows very often, and we still run into new surprises on every week, pretty much. So, but thank you for watching. And he says I'm back in sync. So yeah, so
Nice.
basically what I did was I reset OBS. What's cool about our setup now is I didn't have to do anything as far as our conferencing software. Will didn't have to do anything on his end, right? I was able to take care of that problem on my own, fix it here, and if we didn't mention it or didn't talk about it or didn't bring it up, no one would know, right? Because we can do it in the background. So glad it's fixed. I'm glad it's fixed now.
Nice.
Cool. So a couple of things. Henry says, just purchased a second start. Thank you, Henry. Do I use 2.5 or multicam? Well, the answer is both. So if you want to use both your cameras at the same time for a stream and switch between cameras, that would be the Multicam app. If you want to use a single camera, you could use the Mevo 2.5 app as well. You can use the Multicam app with a single camera as well too. So it's really up to you and what your application is. If you have to do any type of advanced audio settings and you want to adjust your mic inputs and stuff like that, you want to do that in the 2.5 in the Mevo 2.5 app because that'll have all your audio parameters set up for you.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Awesome.
Pilgrim
And then the Pilgrim says Mevo beats Mevo beats GoPro at my church, hands down.
Nice.
That's awesome. Send us some post some footage of it. Send us some links so we can actually see the comparison. We'd love to see that.
Yeah, I get a fair amount of tickets that compare the two, and it's really it's kind of hard to compare because the Mevo is such a different product. It just is. Not only is it 100% geared towards live streaming, but it's dramatically more flexible in doing lots and lots of different types of content, whether it's NDI, using wireless webcam, wired webcam, streaming directly from the Mevo 2.0 app, adding more Mevos to do the Multicam app. So yeah, that's really cool. Really glad to hear that.
Absolutely. All right, so it looks like questions have slowed down a bit.
Cool. Thank you everybody, for asking all the questions and for all the feedback. I think that so far, I think Skype has been going really well. I really like the feature, and I'm kind of surprised. I didn't know about this feature until very recently, and it's actually been around, I think, since 2018. So I think it was in beta.
Really?
Yeah, it came out in beta in 2018.
So let's recap what we're talking here. So
Yeah.
right now we have Skype as our conferencing software, and Will on his end is hosting, and he can actually take individual video feeds via NDI and pull them into OBS. So let's say we had 5 other people here with us. Will would be able to give each of those people their single shot, the way he's been giving us, himself and me, the single shots. And then those people can also use their OBS system. So when I was doing the slides earlier, that was coming directly from my OBS system. So I know, granted, as things, all works well. Make sure, as long as you're not running into delays like I did, this has been pretty solid. And again, the issue that we had earlier wasn't even with Skype at all. It was with my OBS system on my computer. So so far, I'm super happy.
Yeah, and what's really cool about NDI that some more advanced broadcasters take advantage of, and especially if you're a game broadcaster, you probably do this or at least are aware of this as well. But you can bounce the NDI signal from one computer to another computer. So if I wanted to have this computer be the main OBS computer that takes in the video call from Skype, and then does all the graphics and stuff like that, then like maybe my computer might be a little overloaded. Maybe it's using too much CPU or too much RAM. I can output OBS's complete video output from this computer and send it to this computer. And so then this computer would be able to stream that entire OBS with all the graphics and Skype, but using maybe like 2% CPU power, because all it's doing is thinking that it's just taking that one basic video feed. So you can do a lot of really cool stuff with NDI, especially if you're bouncing from computer to computer. That's also really nice and useful if you're using like a laptop that maybe doesn't have enough power. So yeah, just a little side note there.
Yeah, it's just remarkable that you can take the Mevo out of the box, turn it on, and you have a streaming camera ready to go, right? Or you can just take it the next step and the next step and the next step further. And then you get into situations of what we're doing now, where we have people on two different sides of the world talking to each other, streaming together. Everything's connected, graphics. I mean, the whole production, and it all starts with the Mevo. So it's pretty awesome to see how far it's come, especially coming from like the original Mevo, to see what you can do and the capabilities that the camera has now.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, let's take a look at some questions here, see what else is coming in. And if not, I think we're good. Let's see.
Got one last one from Jeff.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Let's see. He says, I notice you guys are 1080 HD on YouTube. When I do my recorded live and post to YouTube, I'm only getting 1080, not the HD. How do you get the HD? So I'm not sure if there's a difference in 1080 HD versus 1080 on YouTube. I actually don't know if there is one, but yeah, I don't know.
I don't think there is, unless there's they wouldn't be limited by the bitrate output, would it?
I don't think so. I think 1080 HD is 60 maybe frames per second, and 30 is not HD. That's the only thing that I can think of that I've seen in terms of different 1080p video options on YouTube. But we'll definitely look into that, and if we can find any more information, we'll definitely let you know on the next show. So yeah, that gives us something to look into.
Yeah, that's definitely interesting for sure.
Yeah. Cool. So thank you. One last question. Do you guys have a trade-in program for an older Mevo? Says Robert on Facebook. We don't have a trade-in program, but that would be a cool idea. I like it, certainly. But yeah, we don't have a trade-in program at this time. But now is a great time to pick up a Mevo. Maybe you can get referral from somebody that can give you 5% off, so they can get 5% commission. You should ask the Facebook group. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Again, let me pull up the schedule real quick. All right. So we have our shows every Tuesday and Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tuesday, we answer any and all Mevo questions all show long. And then Thursday, we get to kind of do a deep dive into really specific topics that we feel could really benefit you. And yeah, both shows are going to be live on YouTube and Twitch, as well as Facebook. I think we've had a lot of fun today streaming to all three destinations. So be sure to tune into those. And one last time, we do have the 3-pack available right now. You can find it on Mevo.com. You can find it on our resellers, Amazon, Best Buy, B&H, Adorama. It's a great deal. And then we have the referral program that I was just talking about. You refer somebody, and you will save them 5% on Mevo.com, and you will get 5% commission back. You can find more information at mevo.com/referral. And then, as always, you can find lots and lots of answers to any questions that you have that haven't been answered on the show on our help section, and that's help.mevo.com. And if you can't find your answer there, send us a ticket. Joseph, I, or Joe will give you a hand. And until next week, thanks for joining us.